Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have author B.J. Knapp with us. And B.J. came all the way in from Coventry, Rhode Island. Welcome. How long did it take you to get here?
Oh, just over an hour. It was a very pretty ride.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go up 146 or how do you come?
Well, I live on 102, and I just drove right up 102, and I drove with the top down. Just perfect day to drive with the top down. So
okay, you've got
pretty happy.
She is the author of Beside the Music. Now I know that you said you've got some songs, but you never had them published of your own, right?
Right. I used to play the open mics in Boston and Providence. It's actually how my husband and I met. I used to open up for his band.
Yeah.
And now I'm writing fiction, and he's doing other things, and neither of us have really picked up our guitars lately.
Well, you know that you are self-published, which of course I love. And I love the cover of this. Did you pick the cover?
I did. So I had a publisher originally, and about 6 months after the book came out, my publisher went out of business.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a cover designer, I had everything edited, so those are the most expensive things when you create a book.
Yeah.
And my cover designer, he didn't read the book, he just took the synopsis and kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
And I think he thought it was way more risque than the book actually was.
Yeah, it's not risque.
No,
It's
no.
got the cover is cute. It's got the little bra hanging out the door now, but the guitar beside it.
So he gave me all these crazy ideas of like these really risque things, and I literally said to him, "My dad is going to see this. Are you insane?"
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you write a book, everybody says that they always imagine what the cover would look like. I didn't. I was too busy writing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta come up with a cover for this thing. So I kept turning down these ideas that my cover designer came up with, and finally, one of those 2 a.m. brain churn ideas came up, and I came up with the idea, and I staged it on my own front door. I still have the picture where I took my husband's bass guitar, and I took my black lace bra, and I hung it on the knob.
That's blue. Yeah, that's a blue.
Well,
one.
it's
Okay,
blue in the picture, but because my front door is white, but so you kind of have to make a contrast. And then I took booze bottles, and I took the welcome mat, and I tilted it down. And being frugal, I didn't put booze in the cups. I brewed tea, and I spilt it because I didn't want to waste the booze in the picture.
Oh.
Yeah, super dork. And then I took the picture, and I sent it to my designer, and I said, "This."
That's what you wanted.
And he was like, "Yes, that." So then he came up with this cover.
Now, I can relate to you big time, right off the back. I was in college radio, and you were too.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you? What school?
Bryant.
Okay, I was up at Plymouth State, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
So you were a college radio, and you were playing, were you DJ, were you spinning the tunes of the day? That's
Yes,
what I was doing.
of course.
Well, of course, they gave me some kind of free leverage. I was the only woman announcer. What about you? Were you?
Oh, no, there were
other
heaps of
girls?
women, yeah.
I had to learn in one morning. Did you do everything? You bring in the news, you do all of this, you had to press all the buttons. There was no one to help me in the booth. I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty amazing.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Do you do it now? Do you do
No,
radio?
I don't.
No, you'd be great. Oh, I've got to get her out on radio. So
There's only so many hours.
I know, I know it. You were wondering whatever happened to all those 80s rock stars and one-hit wonders, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it. Now, without giving away the ending, tell people what the book Beside the Music is about.
Okay, so when you talked a second ago about what happened to all those one-hit wonders, so that was, you know, I'm a big sucker for 80s rock and 80s metal, and so I envisioned this meeting where all these rock stars get called into the conference room and they get told the money's gone, and they're still wearing the eyeliner and the leather and the big hair, and they show up and they get told the money's gone, and then they have to figure out what to do next. Are they going to go get a job in an office cubicle, or are they going to make another go of it? So I actually wrote that scene for Beside the Music where Hydra, my band, figures out that their money is gone. So they embark on this journey through America where they meet their American fans, and it's a big publicity stunt. So Keith Cutter, my bass player, the story is about Keith, who the whole band moves in with Brenda and Tim Dunkirk, and the story is told from Brenda's perspective. She's a huge Hydra fan. So she has this 80s metal band move into their house, And that's
she's
what the story.
married, too.
Yeah, she's married.
She's married.
She's married. They're trying to figure out the kid thing. She's trying to get promoted at work. She's a publicist. He's running for office. Her mother-in-law pops up at the most inopportune moments because she's hell-bent on redecorating their house. And there's a rock band living there.
Yeah.
And the whole story is about what happens to Brenda and Tim's marriage as a result of Hydra living there. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah. Boom. Where did this come up in your mind? How long did you start writing this?
I worked on this book for 5 years, and the reason why this book took so long is because I kept writing it, and I was trying to find an agent, trying to find a publisher, so I kept really trying to do that. And then once I had a publisher, I realized that they didn't really do very much for me.
No, they don't. That's why a publicist gets in and helps you get the book out there.
And I was doing all the work to market it, and they were like, 30%, please.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's it.
I decided that I was just going to take it and do it on my own after that.
Self-publish, yes, definitely. And you were over at Tatnock. You said you did a great time over there with your friend.
Yes. Well, there were 4 of us. There were 4 authors. So it was me, it was Gail Olmsted. Yep. We had Lynn Heinzman, she's historical fiction, and we had Tracy Ryan, who does thrillers. Yeah. And Gail, Gail was on the show previously. Right. She does romance. So we positioned that event as, what is it like to be an author?
Yeah.
So all of the locals who have this idea for a book, they came out and they just asked us questions about, how do you decide what to write about? How do you publish? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I could have hung out all day. I mean, it was only 2 hours. I could have stayed for 8 hours and just talked to these people.
It's a great room. It's a great room.
The people were cool too.
I know. I love it. I always suggest the authors go over there. Get your feet wet. Some are shy in the beginning. They're not ready for the big room routine. So they do sometimes you can have a little table not far from where you check out, just to sign a book and, get to know people, maybe walk around a little bit with it. So basically, this is going to be the first of a sequel, right?
Yes. So in this book, it's from Brenda's perspective, and it's all about how she writes a fan letter to Keith Cutter just on a lark, and then he meets her, and then he starts writing a song in her house, and the band insists that the album be written where it started. So that's how they come to move in.
Yeah.
So Keith Cutter, the bassist, he's a bit of a tortured artist, a tortured soul.
Yep.
So the prequel to this is going to be called Before the Music, and I'm writing it right now, and it's told from Keith's perspective, and it's Keith's rise to fame in Australia. So the band is Australian, and Keith has a dark secret that he has to hide through his whole life as he's trying to make this, this leap to fame.
Mm-hmm. Now, in this story, the band will not leave until the album is done. And it could be another month or it could be another year. They're all together in this house.
The band, the entourage, the management.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you ever lived in a situation that was so crowded as that?
No.
That's chaotic.
No. Well, no. With the exception of college dorm life. But,
Oh, yeah.
People ask me all the time, like, so did this happen to you? And it always cracks me up when friends ask me that. It's like, dude, you've been in my house. Like, didn't you see? No, this never happened to me, to be clear. I've never had an 80s metal band move into my house. I'm not nearly that cool.
So you went to Bryant.
Yes.
What did you major in?
I majored in marketing.
What do you do for another job besides writing?
Boring day job. Meh.
Yeah.
Not into. I'm not here to talk about my day job.
Yeah, so it's funny how many authors will finally give up their day job because this is their first love. Now, you live in Rhode Island. You've had 2 dogs, Nemo and Potter. Mm-hmm. You're an avid sailor and a scuba diver.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I did my study abroad in college in Sydney, and that's where I got onto the idea of having my band be Australian.
Yeah.
And I got certified in Sydney. And my husband is also an avid diver. He's an instructor. Mm-hmm. But we had lived together for 2 years. We were together for 3. And he turns to me and says, I really want to go diving. We got to get you certified. I'm like, I am certified. Like, how did you not know this about me?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? So we dive together now, and we've restored 3 sailboats together. And, and that's what we do. Those are things we do together.
What is geocoaching?
Geocaching.
What is that?
It's a way to hike with purpose, basically. So people hide these little caches, these little boxes. There's probably dozens of them in the woods outside this window right now, and they post the coordinates to them online. And you take your GPS and you go and you find it. And then you sign the log inside. And
that you got there.
Yep.
And you keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like
And these are all over the world.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it is. And you get to see somewhere new that you otherwise would not have even known existed had you not followed the coordinates.
So where have you done this? All over the United States?
All over the world.
Where's the farthest you've been?
We did one. I'm trying to remember if we did one in Iceland or not. We've definitely done them like all over the country. Like whenever we go on vacation, we're like, oh, what caches are around?
Yeah.
For my birthday one year, we went to Martha's Vineyard with a bunch of friends and we just cached all weekend. And we
Where do you know how to begin, though? Where do you know?
Geocaching.com.
And they'll tell you, where,
Yep.
okay, where
so
you
you say, okay, I want to find some in Rhode Island. And then you pull up Rhode Island, and then there's like all the ones, and you say, "Oh, that one," and you click, and you get.
So it's like a little
coordinates.
box somewhere,
Mhm.
and then maybe it's on a tree in the woods,
Mhm.
a trail. You go in, you just kind of sign it like I was here,
Yep.
and you keep on trucking.
And there's sometimes they have like little toys inside, and you can leave something and take something. You know.
How about a book? Can you leave books? You got.
You know what? The boxes are quite small.
Yeah.
You know, I found a really cool CD
Yeah.
that we took and we listened to, and it was a really great artist. You know, like stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
would not have otherwise found. You know.
Well, we're talking with BJ Knapp, and that's her real name, BJ.
It is.
Where did your parents come up with that? That is so cool.
I'm the youngest of 5. They just gave up after a while.
They just said, "Here, it's BJ." Did they give you that name before they knew you were a girl, or did they didn't care? Did
I
they
don't-
just say,
I wasn't really privy to the conversation.
you didn't know? Oh, there you go. Wouldn't you be surprised if you had been? Now, she is the author of Beside the Music. This is a pretty cute tale. It was a very cute tale. This band moves in with this gal and her husband, and there's all kinds of good stuff going on. And as she says in the very end, to give you an idea, boom, husband and wife, right? Now, in the sequel coming up, Before the Music,
Mhm.
is it going to be as dramatic as this? Or are you going to, like, solve some things? I know that guy's got a mystery behind him.
Right.
Okay, what's going to happen, do you think, with that?
Well, he's gonna. So, all right, I'll tell you a little bit about Before the Music. So, in Beside the Music, we talk about how Keith took off on his yacht after his son's car accident. He got into a car accident. He was driving drunk, and the son, and we tell this in Beside the Music, the son ends up being a quadriplegic as a result of the accident.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Before the Music, we talk about that. Keith ends up taking off on his yacht to recover from his prescription drug addiction. So in the book, Before the Music, he's on his yacht alone. He's caught in a storm. The yacht capsizes and a Japanese fishing boat picks him up. He has a concussion. Nobody speaks English. So he tells the whole story of everything to
Yeah.
this woman who's making sure he doesn't sleep because he has a concussion.
Yeah.
So presumably she doesn't understand, so he tells everything. So he recounts the whole rise to his fame, all the secrets and everything, because he can finally get it out without actually really telling somebody
Right.
what's going on.
And that's going to be the whole beginning, the gist of it.
So in the beginning, he's taking off on the yacht.
Yeah.
And in chapter 2, he's
Talking to
capsized.
her.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's capsized. When is this next one going to be out, do you think?
I'm really hoping for end of this year, early next year. So right now, it's all written, and I'm hacking my way through it now, like updating and editing.
Yeah.
I had 2 beta readers go through it already. So one is a friend who's in Australia, and I needed to get like the Australian slang kind of. I didn't want to be overly Australian, but I wanted to be legit, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So he had said to me, your use of the word bloke is a hot mess. Like, you need to fix that. So that was really good to like get,
Yeah.
because it's been a long time since I've been there, and I
Yeah,
don't really
sure.
remember how they talk.
Yeah.
Then I had my friend Gail do it for story. So Lincoln did the Australian slang stuff. She did it for story. Lincoln also helped me with locations, like certain places around the city. He's like, oh no, that's not a good spot for that. Have them talk about this town instead.
It's good to have friends, isn't it?
It's always good to have friends anyway.
Yeah, I mean, especially, when you're writing something and somebody's in a different area, maybe they know more about it. I get that. I think that's great. Beside the Music with BJ Knapp, and we got the sequel coming out maybe a year,
Yeah.
maybe a year or so. Will there be one after that too? Are you looking forward?
I'm trying to decide that. So Before the Music is going to be before this part of the story picks up. So Before the Music will end where Keith meets Brenda.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where,
And then this is going to end up as the second book,
Yes.
or the middle.
Yeah.
If you do.
If
can
I do
see
a
that.
third.
I can see this as the middle, and then you have the end.
Right. And I kind of have a zygote of an idea for what comes next,
Yeah.
for after the music, if you will. And I'm not really 100% certain if I'm doing it. I have a couple of other books that I've started that I need to kind of bash out and figure out where I want to go with them. I have 2 that are kind of dangling right now that I need to figure out the plot, and they're completely other things. So I have a gajillion ideas. It's
just getting them down there.
Yeah.
Are you a night writer or a early morning writer?
I'm an any moment I have writer.
There you go. You grab what you got, right?
So when I wrote this book, I kept a journal in my purse, and I wrote the first draft longhand.
Sounds good.
So the way my husband's work sometimes works out, like when we're planning to meet up somewhere, and he hates this, he hates that, he keeps me waiting. But sometimes his work, he can't always get out on time. So I always bring something with me to occupy myself while I wait. When I'm sitting in a parking lot or sitting in a restaurant or something, and I just wrote longhand anywhere I was waiting.
Yeah. You're making good use of your time. When you're in a doctor's office, I get a lot done in a waiting room. Your writing career has contributions to the Rhode Island Fit magazine. Tell me about that.
So after I ran my marathon, I wrote an article about the 5 truths that you learn when you run a marathon. The black toenails, that is a thing. And I wrote a few other things about making time to work out, making time for yourself, just to kind of get my name out there a little bit more.
Now, tell us, BJ, how can you get a hold of this book?
So my website is bjknapp.com, and I have a section in there called Where to Buy. The most popular place to buy it is on Amazon.com. So it's bjknapp.com/Amazon is where you can get that. But on the Where to Buy section, I have the book available in a few, I think about 8 or so different bookstores that are local to Rhode Island, New Jersey, New Hampshire, anywhere I've been, Vermont, anywhere I've been, I bring books and I drop them off at stores. So I have a few stores listed there. But Amazon, Barnes, then there's a bunch of other ones like
How about
24
Knapp?
Symbols.
Are you over there? You must have books there.
They have to order them. I
Okay.
offered to leave some as consignment, and they said that they would prefer to order them from the
And you're
book
blogging.
distributor.
Can you give your blog site to people?
bjknapp.com.
That is really great. I'm thinking ahead here. You're such an outdoor girl. I wonder if you'll do any stories regarding this. Fascinates me. This geocache.
I do have a few blog entries about it.
That's interesting to me.
So one thing, and no, this is completely off topic from the book, but what the heck, let's do it. So years ago when we went geocaching, we found a little stuffed lamb, a little toy lamb, and it had an E drawn on the side of it.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's interesting. And it was in a Ziploc baggie because these things are outside. You have to weatherproof them as much as you can. And there were instructions inside the baggie, so we opened it. And they told us how somewhere, I think it was in Nebraska, somebody put an N, S, E, and W lambs and said, if you're heading east, pick up the E one. So it originated in Nebraska. We found it in Rhode Island.
Right.
And they had a website where you could go and you could track how far each sheep went.
Right.
So one of them went south, one went north, and depending on how it was labeled.
Right.
So we took the E one, and
Yeah.
we're like, we're in Rhode Island. How much further east can we go?
Yeah. Right.
A friend of ours was going to Germany
Yeah.
on vacation,
Right.
like a week later.
Yeah.
So we gave him the E sheep, and he dropped it off in a cache in Germany.
Right.
And then somebody picked up the E sheep in Germany and took it to Singapore.
And then from
So-
Singapore, where'd it go?
I think that was the last we heard of it.
That was. By the way, audience, viewers, if
Yeah.
you're hearing some beeping in the background, they're doing some sort of, I don't know, Paul, is it street work out there, construction, whatever it is?
A big trash truck.
A big trash. Yeah, picking up the trash. Okay, so it's not here in the studio, not about to go boom or anything. So it went to Singapore, and then where did it go?
I think that's the last I remember.
Have you
hearing
ever
of it.
started one in your travels? Have you ever?
We've started plenty of geocaches. My husband and I did one where we set it on our anniversary, and we called it the anniversary cache. And when you signed the log, it said you have to write the date of your anniversary.
Yeah.
And so so we went back and looked at the log, and people were writing like, "Oh, our anniversary is this day," or people had went and found it on their own anniversary.
Right.
So some of them are themed. Like we found one under a boardwalk in Atlantic City, and there was a shell necklace that I took from there, and I left casino tokens in it. And said,
Is that
"Here,
the one
try
you
your
got?
luck." No.
No, that's
This is
not
from
the
a
one
friend in New Zealand.
Do you play? By the way, do you play BJ the guitar? You do.
I used to. I
That's
haven't
on the
touched one
cover
in a
of
while.
the book here.
So my husband's bass guitar was on the original prototype.
his, yeah.
Of the for the cover.
And I'm sure that's not your hubby's bra hanging on the doorknob.
Well, it's funny because when I was telling you about how I told my cover designer, "Hey, my dad's going to see this.
Yeah.
Tone it down, dude."
Yeah.
My father's from Poland. He has a very thick accent.
Oh, yes.
Do not know when he's kidding. Like that's how he talks.
Yeah.
So my dad buys the book. He bought like 10 copies off of
He
Amazon.
bought the book?
Because my dad,
Yeah.
So he calls me up and he's like, "Why is there a bra on the cover?" And I was mortified. I was absolutely mortified. Like, Dad.
I think it's adorable, but he's very strict. Right?
Yeah. I mean, he's old school.
What'd you tell him?
So, well, Dad, it's part of the thing. It's the clash of rock and roll and suburban civility.
And he took it okay.
And he just went, huh.
So he's from Poland.
Yes, both my parents are.
So is Knapp your maiden name?
No, that's my married
That's
name.
your married name. So both your parents were from Poland. Oh, that is.
They lived maybe a half hour apart in Poland, but they met in the U.S.
Oh my God! How did they meet in the U.S.?
Friends of friends,
Just friends? Now you said you're the youngest of 5.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of kids. Are you the only girl?
No, 3 girls, 2 boys. So it goes girl, boy, girl, boy, girl.
Boy, did they get lucky, huh? They got a whole football team
Yeah.
there.
Or basketball team, 5.
And you've got 2 doggies at home.
Yes, I do.
Nemo and Potter. Girls, boys?
Boys.
Aw. What kind?
Nemo is a beagle.
Yeah.
He's 14. I like to say he's an international dog of leisure. And Potter, he's 6. He's a Chesapeake Bay Retriever.
Now, you're an avid sailor. Do you do sunfish, sailfishes, that type of thing?
No, we have a 41-foot sailboat that we restored that we vacation on together. So it's basically a floating RV.
Where do you go? Yeah, I have those things. So they're a little big. Do you go to the Cape? You go to Newport? Where do you go?
Yes and yes.
Oh.
The furthest we've gone is Plattsburgh, New York. So we did one trip where we went up the Hudson, up the Champlain Canal, up Lake Champlain, and almost to Canada. One year we did that.
You get around.
I do.
To find the time to write, you've got a regular job in the daytime. She's a writer, and she's avid outdoors woman.
But in the winter, I'm housebound,
You don't go sliding and sledding and things. Sure, skiing. You must ski. No?
I used to. I stopped enjoying it, so I'm like, eh.
Snowboarding looks
Yeah.
good, except if you break an ankle, you're... I look at that and I can't wait to do it, but then I've stood on it, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe if you held on to a couple of ropes. I've seen people out there in there. It's not a kayak. What is that new thing? I've seen them out there. They're almost like they're in the African...
Paddleboard. The stand-up paddleboard.
Yeah. Is that pretty easy?
I've never tried it.
I want to try that.
I have a friend who does yoga on it. Like, she does, like, headstands and stuff on
Are
it.
you kidding?
I'm like, yeah, okay, rock on with your bad self.
Oh my God. Well, we've been talking with BJ Knapp and we have to wrap it up. But BJ, again, beside the music, and there's another one coming out. How do they get your book?
It's available on Amazon. You can go to bjknapp.com/Amazon. That's KNAPP, bjknapp.com. Also on bjknapp.com, if you click where to buy, there's a whole list of everywhere you can get it. So if you're not feeling the Amazon, you can get it from Barnes. There's several local bookstores where it is as well. And some of the local bookstores have signed copies.
Have you
So-
appeared up at, gosh, I love this place, Book Lovers Gourmet?
I've not. What is
Webster.
that?
You would love it. I'm surprised Gail Olmsted hasn't told. It's up in Webster. It's called the Book Lovers Gourmet. The owner is terrific. She has all venues of authors. You go on up there. You do book signings. Give us presentation. Look at it. It's over in Webster.
Okay,
There's
cool.
no one. The Book Lovers Gourmet. Adorable shop, and I send a lot of my authors over there. Very, very
Interesting.
sweetly. Deb Horan, she runs it. There's another plug for you, Deb. Very sweet person. Obviously loves books. Very cozy. I think you really like it. And don't forget to stop downstairs in the Upton Library here. Come on in if you're from out of town, out of state, out of the whatever. Come on over and go visit the dedicated authors wall, and you'll find her book and borrow a copy, and then get the word out that you really liked it.
Speaking of borrowing copies, ebook copies are available in the Overdrive app as well.
Well, you got around. That's great. Where are you presenting next?
Actually, I don't have anything. Typically in the summer, I don't really do much for book events because summer is when my life happens.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything on the docket just yet. I think I'm going to do the Big E this fall again. I did that last year.
You're going to go to the Big E.
So I'm a member of the Rhode Island Authors Association.
Yeah.
And they rent a table in the Rhode Island building. So I did that last year.
Yeah.
And it's just a constant stream.
I thought you
of
meant the
people.
Big
It's
E
amazing.
in Springfield. Now.
Yes.
That's why some of the offices...
Eastern States
Yeah,
Exposition.
I grew
Every
up in
state.
Wilbraham.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
there,
grew up
so
in Connecticut.
Oh, you, yeah,
Just
right
Windsor,
over the
yeah.
line. Were you near Enfield?
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to go to, is it the Enfield Mall?
Yep, I used to work at that J.C. Penney.
I think I worked there one Christmas. I got a Christmas job. I was maybe 17, 16. It was in the cosmetics section. And I came home smelling like, I would be, a kid trying on all the different perfumes and everything. I had a blast.
You come home, everybody's eyes are watering when they stand next to you.
BJ, thanks so much for being with us. We're going to look forward to the next book, okay?
Okay, cool.
Happy
Thank you for
scuba
having me.
diving.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time and be my guest.
Thank you all.